Today we're looking at Numbers chapter 22. It's a big story, so I got to tell it to you really quickly. You're going to have to read it for yourself. But basically, here's the deal. There's this guy named Balak, and he's the king of the Moabites, and he's afraid of the children of Israel. So he goes to this prophet guy called Balaam, and in order to get Balaam to come and to curse the nation of Israel so that they won't be able to attack him. And he sends his messengers out to Balaam, and Balaam tells him, no, I can't do that, sends them back. And then Balak sends another group out to him, and basically says, I can only do the word of the Lord, but wait here and I'll see if God speaks anything more to me. And so we pick up now the story in verse 20 of chapter 22, and said, verse 19, sorry. Now therefore, please you also stay here tonight, that I may know what more the Lord may say to me. This is Balaam speaking. And God came to Balaam at night and said to him, if the men come to call you, so if the men come to call you, rise and go with them, but only the word which I speak to you, shall you do. So Balaam rose in the morning and saddled his donkey and went to the princes of Moab. And God's anger arose because he went, and the angel of the Lord took a stand in the way as an adversary against him. Okay, so here's what the story is. The second group came to him. He said, let me go pray. God says to them, if they come back to you in the morning, go with them. So what's Balaam do? He gets up in the morning, saddles his own donkey, and he goes to them. That's why God was angry with Balaam, is because he didn't obey God fully. He didn't wait for them to come back to him. He went to them. So here's then now verses 22 all the way down through verses 35 is a story of Balaam's on his donkey and he's riding down the road, and this angel of the Lord, by the way, this is capital A, angel of the Lord. Whenever that shows up in the Old Testament, that is a pre-incarnation of Christ. That's not just an angel of the Lord, Michael, Gabriel. It is the angel of the Lord. So this is the pre-incarnated Christ appearing on the road before them, and the donkey sees the angel of the Lord standing there with the sword. And so I want you to see here in the progression of this. In verse 23 it says the donkey turned off into the field. Balaam beats the donkey, gets him back on track. So the angel of the Lord relocates into this vineyard between two walls. And this time the donkey wants to avoid this angel of the Lord with his sword, and so he goes over by the wall and he crushes Balaam's foot up against the wall. And Balaam beats him with the stick again and gets him back on track. Then the next time it says that the angel of the Lord relocated in another narrow place where you could neither go to the right or to the left. So the donkey just lays down in the middle of the road. Well, now Balaam he's livid, mad. And now keep in mind, this is a prophet of the Lord. He's spitting mad. And the scripture goes on to say, then verse 28 says, the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey so that he could speak. And what a strange thing. You know, we had another time back in Genesis chapter 1, or Genesis chapter 3, where the serpent spoke to Eve, and Eve wasn't alarmed by it. It makes me kind of wonder if at some point animals could talk before the fall and everything. I don't know. It's just one of those things that make you go, but anyhow, the Lord opens up the donkey's mouth and he speaks to Balaam, and Balaam talks to the donkey. And the donkey says, what have I done to you that you've struck me these 3 times? And Balaam dude, if I had a sword in my hand right now, I'd kill you. And the donkey says, basically in verse 30, hey, listen, I'm your servant. I'm always here to serve you in that. But I couldn't go where you wanted to go because he told me not to. Balaam turns around, the Lord opens his eyes, and he sees the angel of the Lord standing there with his sword, and Balaam falls down on his face. And so the angel of the Lord speaks to him and says, listen, dude, I told you, wait for them to come to you. Don't you go to them. And you think, now, why was this so important for God to actually come in the pre-incarnated Christ to show up to Balaam? And here's the key of it, folks. Balak was wanting Balaam to go and curse the children of Israel. And you've got to read the story for yourself because it's too much for us in the next chapters to come. But what happens was 3 times Balaam goes out, and instead of cursing the nation of Israel, he blesses them. And God had to show up in this chapter in such a dramatic way because he needed Balaam's full attention so that Balaam didn't go out again half-cocked and do something wrong and end up cursing the children of Israel. God is in the details. We started this week talking about God is in the details. God speaks to us, and I've called this devotional today, how is just as important as what. It wasn't just important that Balaam knew what to say. He needed to know how to act. And so is in our lives too. God speaks to us, and it's important that we follow him, because in following the Lord's word, there is blessing. Follow the voice of the Lord. It's not hard to hear. Jesus said, "My sheep know my voice, and another they will not follow. For I know them, and they know me." God bless you. Have an awesome day following the word of the Lord.